That brings us to the pyramid concept of attacks and slashes and stabs. All right, the pyramid is a tool that we use to train our practitioner how to use the slashes and how to use the stabs and combinations as well. Pyramid works that there will be a square in front of you about 3 feet by 3 feet right in front of you. Imagine a square right in front of you. You take that square and you cut it in half with a diagonal. You take that square and cut it in half with a diagonal across. You cut it in half with a horizontal, and you cut it in half with a vertical. So basically, you just created a square that is cut into a pyramid motion. That is the diagram I am going to use as far as me attacking. Now, for learning purposes, you're using a big pyramid. We call this a pyramid because it's like you're looking at the bottom of a pyramid, and in relation to me, the pyramid is going out. All right? In the beginning, it's going to be a big pyramid. As you get better and tighter, you're going to make a smaller pyramid. And finally, you're going to make it the size of the target you're attacking. And we'll show you in a second in relationship to your opponent. Okay, the first techniques you're going to have following that pyramid are the slashes. Now, the reason why the pyramid is big in the beginning is for muscle memory programming. In other words, you're learning the techniques, and usually when you learn a big technique, you're going to ingrain it into your muscle memory. So I'm getting into my fighting stance. I'm getting my grip of the knife properly. I'm going to follow the lines that are on that pyramid. The first one will be a slash down. In other words, I'm slashing down. That is considered first angle in the pyramid, right here, slash down. Now I can travel on that line upward as well. 1, 2. So that line has 2 traveling routes, 1 and 2. Second one will be the other diagonal. That will be considered the second angle. Again, I can travel down and I can travel up. So I got down and up. It is important that every time you slash with the blade. In other words, when I went this way, blade was facing my opponent. When I go upward, I'm going to have to turn the blade and go with the blade. Don't go this way. You're going to end up getting stuck or basically raking him instead of cutting him. So same thing. This is 1. This is 2. And of course, you can travel down, up, and down. Then you got to cross. You got to cross from this side, and you got to cross from this side. So that will be considered angle 3, angle 4. All right? Finally, you got downward, upward. So altogether, you have 8 lines of slashes. Diagonal down, diagonal up, diagonal up, diagonal down. Horizontal to this side, horizontal to this side, down and up. 8 lines of slashes. Now, as you practice your slashes, you're going to follow those lines. The reason for that is if you attack according to those lines, you're never going to get stuck with your knife. Human flesh is flexible. Muscle is flexible. Skin is flexible. If you start doing like round motion on skin, you're going to get stuck. The skin gets all tangled up and you can't cut through. As long as you follow this technology of slashes, you're going to slash through up to the bone. In other words, the slash will penetrate. You're going to go through the skin, through the what we call soft tissue organs, the veins, the muscles, the skin, the fat. You're going to go right through it up to the bone. If you start doing any Picasso motion, in other words, round motion, it's not going to work. So every time you slash, you're going to follow those lines of that pyramid. Now, as you get better, of course, you're going to start tightening up because I don't want to exaggerate my motion and travel negative. Travel negative means as long as the blade is going to my target, it's considered positive. As soon as I'm done cutting and I continue traveling, that's considered negative. Anytime I'm in negative, he can collapse me by either trapping me or by simply attacking me with his knife. I want to cut down the negative. In other words, I want to have as less negative as possible because that's the weakness of the motion. Therefore, when you make the pyramid smaller, there is less negative. And finally, you make it to the size of a target. Next, you will have 9 points of stabs using that same pyramid. If you look at the diagram where the lines are meeting, there's going to be 1 point in this corner, 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point here, down corner, 1 point here, 1 point here, and 1 point here. That makes 8 on the outside and 1 point of connection of all the lines in the center. 9 points of stabs. Now, every time I stab and this is why we call this a pyramid concept, I'm going to stab inward the pyramid. In other words, if I'm taking the top corner here, I'm going to stab this way, not this way. If I end up stabbing this way, you're going to see in relationship to an opponent, I end up slashing versus stabbing. Right now, I'm working on stabs, and I want to make sure that all my stabs are penetrating and basically making damage as a stabbing motion, not as a slash. So again, I got all those 9 points straight in the center, this corner, this corner, this corner, this corner, this corner, straight from underneath this corner. And every time I stab, my hand remains here. I keep everything the same. My footwork stays the same, and only my weapon, or only what I'm working at right now, is moving. Everything else remains the same.